Hey there folks, Aldershot here, and today we're going to do an impression on Hatred. It's developed by Destructive Creations and is on sale on Steam at the regular price around $20 USD. Now this game is rated AO, as in adults only, so if you're below the age of 18, I do recommend turning away, not watching this video. We got lots of other cool videos for you to check out on the channel. So there you go, that's our disclaimer, don't get us into trouble, alright? But it is a pretty hyper-violent game, so I do recommend moving forward with this video with a little bit of discretion, if you will, alright? But anyways, at the end of the video, we'll talk a little bit more about the game's options, as well as any extra features that I might have, but for the time being, we're going to just jump into a game that we already got started. We're in level 5 of the total 7 that's available in this game, so we are around the mid-end portion of Hatred. And if you're unfamiliar with Hatred, it is a isometric sort of shooter McGee kind of game. It's similar to, say, like Assault Android Cactus, or maybe even Hotline Miami to an extent. But you'll see, the game's about to start. I'll let you watch the single cutscene here. So there you go. Now, as you know, this game is ultra-violent, and you do play the role of essentially a psychopath, a mass murderer, unlike a lot of other games where you play the hero or maybe the anti-hero. In this case, you're just straight up playing the villain. You're kind of an asshole, and you're going to go around shooting innocent people. That's essentially the goal, so we're going to do that. So this is kind of the, I guess, violence and gruesome part that I kind of mentioned in the beginning, so do keep that in mind. Now you can actually, since a lot of these people aren't all quite dead, you can actually get right close to them and do executions on them as well. It's pretty gruesome, but it does serve a mechanical purpose as well. Basically, oh god, we got the cops after us now. Basically, when you execute a person who's not quite dead, you will be you will be able to regenerate a little bit of your lost health, right? And that's obviously a good thing. In fact, that's the only way you can gain health in this game. So yeah, the whole point is to mow down as much people as possible. Cops, pedestrians, shopkeepers, you name them, you shoot them, right? That's pretty much the whole goal of the game. And like I said, you basically play as a psychopath. You basically play as a mass murdering asshole, right? That's the whole goal of the game. That's really the selling points of Hatred, and because of that, it definitely has stirred up a lot of controversy, and we'll definitely talk about the controversy in a little bit. I kind of want to talk about gameplay first, right? But anyways, each kind of level will definitely present its own kind of goal. In this one currently I'm in, I'm just in downtown wreaking havoc, killing innocent people essentially. And we do have a variety of different guns. Right now I'm using a shotgun. I got 2 assault rifles, actually 1 submachine gun and an assault rifle with me. You can get a variety of different weapons though. There is rocket launchers and even flamethrowers and all that kind of good stuff for you to play around with. You can also kick people just like that, and I'll set them up for a nice execution, which will restore a little bit of health if need be. I'm going to try and avoid some cops right now. Now, as I was saying, each map presents a different goal, a different objective. And this one here is a little bit different from the rest, where the other maps I played previous to the downtown map, the one that we're in right now, they were a little bit more linear. They were kind of like guided paths, where the game sort of led the player and suggested where to go and what to do and all that stuff. And this map here in downtown, it's a little bit more open, a little bit more free form. It's a little bit more sandboxy, where there's no immediate goal. There's a bunch of icons on the radar, as you can see on the bottom left-hand corner, and they're actually just mini objectives. And you finish those objectives, you will be able to regain a health, essentially, a restart, or respawn points. Because if you die in this game, it's actually permadeath. You have to restart the level if that happens. So you do these extra side mission feature things then you'll earn basically an extra life. So that's always a good thing. So we're going to try and head to one of those now, although our health's not looking that great. So we should probably be a little bit more careful moving forward. Anyways, we're at the coffee shop, and right now what we have to do is kill a bunch of innocent people in the coffee shop. Just like a normal Saturday. Not really. Okay, well, anyways, annihilated the coffee shop clients. Very good. And we're going to do some executions. That way we can regenerate a little bit of our health. And we're going to get out of here. But like I was saying, this map is a little bit more freeform, a little bit more sandboxy. You kind of just go around and do all these mini objectives, and then essentially at the end of this map you'll have to face off the army. Essentially a bunch of SWAT people, a bunch of police people, and a bunch of military people, and survive waves and waves of that. And that's generally how this map works. But like I said, each level will have its own goals and objectives, right? Just to kind of help mix things up. Although, it really just boils down to killing a bunch of people. That's really what each map really does, right? So yeah, that's essentially Hatred in a nutshell. You just have to watch out for your ammo, definitely. Because you run out of ammo, you're kind of stuck throwing punches, which you don't want to do when cops are shooting shotguns at you. And all that kind of good stuff, right? So that's the essential synopsis of Hatred. It's a pretty simple isometric shooter, to be honest. Although the idea of killing a bunch of innocent people does come with some mechanical problems, right? One being is there was a level where the first part of the objective was to kill 100 innocent civilians, right? That was one of the goals. And that's a lot of innocent civilians to be killing. When considering that these people, they can't fight back, they don't have guns, they don't have knives or whatever, right? They just don't fight back. And, you know, as a game, and you're basically shooting against or playing against basically challengeless targets, that can get really grindy. Alright? Like, I'm not even talking about the morality of doing this right now. Like, I'll get to that in a little bit. I'm just speaking solely from a gameplay or mechanics perspective right now. Killing a bunch of targets that don't fight back is really boring. I'm sorry to say, it just really is. The game in the first few levels doesn't really get all that interesting because oftentimes I'm just kind of... Oh, I just got ran over. That's not good. Oftentimes I'm just shooting innocent people who don't fight back, and I just do that until the cops come, and then I finally have some people who's willing to fight back, which makes the game obviously more interesting and more challenging, right? So the levels where I'm required to kill so many innocent people is not, I consider them bad, not because of any ethical or morality reasons, but because it's boring. It's boring. It's just not fun to shoot against moving targets that don't fight back. It's just not an interesting concept, right? Now, the levels that do allow you to fend yourself against more challenging foes, like the military or the SWAT teams and the police officers and all that stuff, they are a little bit more interesting and often quite challenging. This is actually one of those levels. I've been a little bit stuck on this map, to be completely honest. It's been quite challenging, and I actually don't mind that. I definitely enjoy a little bit of challenge in my game, and Hatred definitely presents a degree of difficulty for sure. Like I said, there is permadeath in this game. Not in like a roguelike, not in like a roguelike sense, but in the sense where if you screw up, you have to start the entire map over again. And some of the levels actually take like a good hour to finish. So you screw up in the last, I don't know, if you're 45 minutes into it, then you have to restart that. That's kind of a pain in the ass, right? But yeah, that's basically, like I said, that's Hatred in a nutshell as far as gameplay wise. It's all right. I mean, it's not like the most revolutionary isometric shooter I've ever played. The story's not exceptionally well written, the characters aren't likable, in fact they're quite flat and one-dimensional, and just really not that much of a story involved, to be honest. You're just a crazy guy killing a bunch of people, really. And gameplay-wise, I mean, it's not really doing anything that new. The only thing that's doing kinda new is add some sort of merit to killing innocent civilians, where most games don't have any merit for doing that. I'm doing really terrible right now. But that's generally how I feel about the gameplay. I mean, it's a fun game for what it is, and it looks pretty good. It has a pretty nice art style for sure. This whole black and white Sin City thing going on, with the only colors being red for the blood, and sometimes you got the blue and red for the police sirens. It looks good. It's very, very eye-catchy. It's a great style, and it definitely suits the atmosphere and the mood that this game is going for. It's very brooding and gritty and all that kind of stuff, right? So as far as visual is concerned, I have no complaints, really. I think they've done a pretty good job as far as the art design is concerned. But gameplay-wise, like I said, it's not doing anything new. It's not doing anything special. And as far as violence is concerned, I'll be completely honest. I find Hotline Miami more violent than this game. I mean, yes, you have the executions, you get right into the victim's face and you can see their agony and all this stuff, and it's all horrible and terrible and very shocking. But in Hotline Miami, even though it's pixelated, you see blood and brain splatter, you see the guts flowing out of these pixelated characters. And the only one reason why it's not as controversial as Hatred is because it was rendered in pixels. If Hotline Miami was rendered in the same graphic fidelity as Hatred, it would be 100,000 times more gory than this game. There's actually not that much gore in this game. There's a little bit of blood splatter now and then, just like that, and sometimes their limbs get blown off, but you don't see guts, you don't see brains, you know. I'm not saying that these are necessarily bad things. Obviously, if you're not in tune with violence, then this might very well be a good thing for you, right? But what I'm trying to say is, with all the controversy and all the hype, this game is tame. Honestly, first of all, like I said, I highly believe that Hotline Miami is way more violent than this game, especially with its depictions of actual gore and blood splattering and the topics that it touches on. Like, it goes into really mature subjects that I don't even want to mention in this video, right? It's way more mature and it goes into more adult themes than Hatred ever did. And as far as gore is concerned, Mortal Kombat's done it before Hatred, and done it to a higher degree of extremes. I mean, you look at Mortal Kombat 9 or even Mortal Kombat 10 and stuff like that, you can see the intestines and the brains and the fatalities and all that stuff. It's extremely gory. You can see eyes being poked out and tongues being ripped out and all this crazy stuff. In this game, you don't see any of that. Like, yeah, you see people getting killed up close. That's about it. The real controversy from this game isn't the game itself or even the contents of this game. It is the simple concept and the theming of this game. The fact that you're playing a villain, the fact that you're playing a psychopath, the fact that you're playing a serial killer. And it does nothing to kind of blunt that shocking edge. Like in Postal, you know, they kind of got away with it a little bit because it's very, very satirical, it's extremely ridiculous, whereas Hatred is a lot more grounded in reality, it's a lot more gritty, and honestly, I think the game takes itself a little bit too seriously. There's not an ounce of humor in this game, and honestly, I think this game's detriment, in my honest opinion. But that's basically how I feel about Hatred. So basically, overall, I find the gameplay, although not terrible, nothing new, and nothing inventive, nothing, you know, ingenious about it. It's pretty much your standard issue isometric shooter, to be completely honest. And as far as violence is concerned, Hotline Miami and Mortal Kombat's done it better. If I'm to be completely honest. And as far as playing as Psychopath is concerned, I think the Postal dude did it better than the Hatred dude. You know, the Postal Dude is an actual psychopath. And he actually has a pretty well-written story and some character development behind him, which makes him kind of a weird way. In a weird way, I kind of like the Postal Dude because of all these reasons. Is like he's an asshole, but he has a sense of humor about it. And like I said, there's a backstory to him, so there's some development. And this guy, he's very flat. You know, the Hatred guy is very flat, very one-dimensional. Ooh, I'm brooding. I hate life. I hate everything. I'm gonna kill everything. You know, and doesn't really get past that. But yeah, overall gameplay didn't do anything special or new. Violence, Mortal Kombat and Hotline Miami has done it to a higher degree and before this game, and better in my opinion. And as far as playing as a psychopath, I think Postal did it better than Hatred. So the controversy behind this game was absolutely unnecessary. In fact, I don't even think it deserves an AO rating. I think it deserves an M rating as it currently stands. The only thing that there was any controversy behind it, that caused the controversy behind it, is the concept of playing a mass murderer. That's it. That's it. Even the depictions of these so-called murderers, they're not even as graphic as in Grand Theft Auto 5, you know? So, Hatred, it's a playable, it's a competent, and it's a pretty decent isometric shooter. Nothing special, to be honest. It really isn't all that special. It did a great job at stirring up controversy and getting itself a whole bunch of free PR, though. If anything, the game should go down as a brilliant marketing strategy, if nothing else. But as a game itself, not terrible, but nothing special either. Anyways, folks, that's basically how I feel about Hatred. So we'll get out of this. We're just getting ourselves shot up anyways. Let's see. We'll go into the main menu so we can take a look at any extra features. Which, by the way, there is none, so done. Easy. You can choose which level you've previously played. And that's about it, really. As far as options, let's take a look at that. Gameplay. Here's your gameplay options. Nothing too special here. Usual suspect. Graphics options, not too bad. You got all the necessities that you would expect. Picture quality, anti-aliasing, details, etc., etc. Alright, we'll go back. Audio, usual suspect as far as audio sliders. Fully customizable controls. And it does support gamepads, so that's definitely a good thing. Alright, folks, that's basically Hatred. Not a terrible isometric shooter. I don't think it should have been as controversial as it should have been, but at the same time, you know, it's not doing anything special or new. It's actually a very, it's pretty good isometric shooter. That's basically how I feel about it. It's alright. Anyways, folks, I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe. I do lots of these sort of impression videos, so if you're interested, definitely check that out. And if you enjoyed this, you know, show me some love. Like, share, fave, and comments, and all that kind of good stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. Ultra shout out.